Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of In Case of Emergency. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right back into it. Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes to entertain you, and let's jump right in. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Okay. Besides, magic's better for breaking things than fixing them, Luke shrugs. Someone will come and clean this up eventually, and if they don't, well, the world's gonna end anyways. What do you think is going to happen when the world ends? When everything dies? I don't know. I assume we'll be shunted back to the real world, and then we'll never be able to come back here. His nose twitches in irritation. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna help out with this quest or whatever, but I'm not exactly overflowing with optimism. You don't think we'll be able to reach the mountain? Grim Mountain? Sure. You might even be able to stab the heart of the world with your big, massive, throbbing sword, but what then? I thought that was supposed to fix everything. Maybe it'll be like turning it off and back on again. None of the books mention anything about this. Whatever. My job is to be the sarcastic anti-hero with the heart of gold. I'm leaving worrying to everyone else. Luke smiles ruefully. With a snap of his fingers, the books lift themselves from the floor and shake off the dust that's landed on their covers. Their spines snap back into place, folded pages uncreasing. The books form a single file line as they begin to shelve themselves again, each slotting itself in its proper place with a satisfying shunk. An erratic book nips at Luke's arm before he tells it. Hey, watch it! I'm not doing this for you! The book tucks its ribbon between its pages, pathetically cowering from him. Yeah, that's right! I'll make a bonfire out of you! Thought suppression style! The book cards its pages in fear, and Luke frowns as he bats it back into line. You do care. Oh, I thought fixing things was out of your purview. Don't tell anyone, I have an extremely macho persona to keep up. So, can anyone learn how to do magic, or...? Sorry, I'm the only one who gets the power, thanks to my swag bling. He holds up his amulet with his thumb, the gem pulsing gently with power. You're a little disappointed, but it feels ungrateful to complain about what flavor of chosen one you get to be. Hey, don't worry, swinging around a big stick is cool too. You think so? Ha! No, carrying a big stick is fine, but talking as loud as possible at all times is cooler, like this. Fire! Luke's hands light up in flames, leaving streaks of light as he moves them through the air. He juggles orbs of fire from one hand to the other. Mimes shock at nearly dropping one, then catches the airborne flames handily in a single paw, extinguishing them by closing his fist. Don't try that in a crowded theater! Do you have to shout a word every time? No, you don't have to do anything. But why do magic if you don't want everyone looking at you? Luke shows you a few more moves, clearly enjoying the chance to show off his powers to someone new. He produces a miniature hailstorm, moves a coin from one ear to the other, and produces a porcelain tea set from a pocket dimension. Eventually, he informs you that he's running out of juice and shoos you out of the library. He has work he should be doing. Who do you visit next? Wes. As you wander through the castle, you're drawn towards the sound of metal hitting metal. Grunts of exertion leak out of an ajar door in the hallway. Either people are fighting with swords or a bunch of robots are having group sex. You should probably check it out, just to make sure. As you get closer, you can see that the sounds seem to be coming from a training room of some kind. Looking inside, you see a sandpit lined with dummies made of straw and burlap. Dull swords and shields hang from the stone walls. The main attraction is the fight taking place in the center of the room. Wes wields a circular steel shield on one arm. Rotating in place as three other fighters attempt to surround him. He never lets them. One breaks formation too early, lunging at him with their sword, but Wes easily knocks aside the attack with his bulwark. He moves fast, each paw finding a quick, confident footing in loose sand below him. He catches your eye, then knocks back one soldier with the surface of his shield, catches the hilt of another sword with the edge of his shield, and sweeps the leg of the final assailant out from under him. I like a man who can fight. He lowers his shield against his thigh, panting slightly with exertion. Let's take a break. Wes nods to the fighters sprawled out across the sand and joins you at the door. Hey, been a weird day. What's up? It's not hard to notice that his expression is eager here, less guarded than when you met him in class. Maybe it's because he's been fighting, or maybe it's your arrival in this world. Maybe it's the way his fur is matted with sweat, his ample bosom heaving with every breath, like a woman on the cover of a cheesy romance novel, as he runs a large hand through his fur on the top of his head. Whatever it is, he looks more relaxed. Wanted to see you. Yeah, I'll save Wes for another run. Hey, I was just looking around. Cool. Well, this is the training room. He gestures to the scene behind him, where his opponents are getting up and brushing sand from their pants. This is my shield. He holds up his arm. Engraved on the shield's metal surface is a simple design of curling ivy. The rim is lined with a decorative golden trim and wide metal bolts. It's taken quite a beating, but you can tell the metal is well taken care of. You see your own blurry reflection on its surface. Have you tried your sword yet? Yeah, I tried it out with Cedric. I didn't get very far with it though. Wes nods. Cedric's pretty good. He's been training for longer than you. You know anything about fighting with a sword? Absolutely everything. I'm basically an expert. No, I'm gonna say no, literally nothing. I would say I know about nothing at all. Here, let me show you. Wes motions for you to get in a ready stance, pretending to pull a sword from his hip. In the back of your mind, you think that you should get a scabbard for this thing. You've been carrying it around this entire time like a lost kid in a toy store. You want to hold it like this. Wes guides you through basics of gripping the sword, letting you copy his movements and stances. He shows you a few simple thrusts, how to follow through with your attacks, and how to maintain your balance while striking. You're not usually the most athletic guy, but it comes to you surprisingly easy. The sword begins to feel like an extension of your arm, and after a while it starts to feel like a very tired extension of your arm. Wes, meanwhile, doesn't seem to be flagging. His hand reaches for yours as he adjusts your grip on the hilt, fingers firm and calloused from training. You can feel the smooth band of a ring against your knuckles, where Wes's left ring finger brushes against your hand. It looks fancy, not to mention expensive. You can't help but feel a little curious. Nope, we'll see. Cool ring. Where'd you get it? This is from my family. He examines the back of his hand with a furrowed brow, like he's just as confused by it as you are. It was my father's, and his father's before him. You know, one of those things that gets passed down from father to son. Like male pattern baldness? Yeah, sort of. My dad gave it to me when it seemed like I'd be taking his place. His place? At the company. Wes is usually terse, but he seems unusually so with this subject. Ask about his feelings! No, wait, respect his boundaries! Less talking, more touching. What kind of company? My dad's. Well, it's actually a corporation, so it's not really his, but his nomination carries a lot of weight. And you're going to be his nominee? That sounds like a lot of pressure. Sure, I guess. I don't think about it. Wes crosses his arms like he does think about it, but it seems like that's all you're going to get out of him. So, how about that end of the world stuff, huh? A bit of tension leaves Wes's body. He seems to appreciate the change in subject. I don't get it either. Remus has been dropping hints about the resolution for a while now, but we couldn't do anything about it until we had all three pieces. And now that we have you, well, I guess we can finally go after the heart and save the world or whatever. So, what's the heart? Wes shrugs. Probably a rock or a monster you'll have to fight. Maybe a rock monster. It's not really my job to know more than that. I just have to hit things and get them with my big shield. And get hit with my big shield, and I leave the rest of it to other people. What happens after we save the world? What do we do then? Anything you want, I guess. Wes frowns in thought. Before this stuff really started happening, the world was... It was different. Nicer. I used to come down here all the time. I'd take walks down to the town, explore and sit by the river, and the water's so much clearer here. You could probably drink straight from the stream if you wanted. That's not nice. That sounds like a good time. It was. I used to help people in town. Someone would get stuck under a cart or lose a family heirloom, or a monster would be ruining their farm. I fixed their problems and they'd invite me to dinner or give me money. I didn't need the money, I didn't have to help them. But it was nice to do things just because I could. I liked having that choice. Do you still do that now? Wes shakes his head. The town was abandoned when the resolution caught up to it. There's a big rift of void between it and the river now. The well's dried up. The grain stopped growing. People left. There was nothing left to do, and there was nothing I could do about it. Are you going to miss it if the world ends? I guess. Yeah, mostly I'd miss hitting stuff with my shield. Being free to do what you want, and you won't be able to live your life the way you want to. Yeah, something like that. That's why it's important that this place survives. When this is all over, we should go and kill some stuff. You don't usually get asked to hang out and kill stuff. It's very flattering. Wes doesn't have a lot to say, but he lets you hang around a little longer, watching him go through his routine. Eventually, you begin to feel like you're overstaying your welcome. It's time to head out. Body and feet sore from your excursions around the castle, you realize it's time to meet Remus in the gardens. You're still not sure who the guy is. Cedric mentioned he was a king, but was that a circlet around his head? He seemed nice, though, you suppose. He was polite, friendly, and seemed happy to have you here. That's more than you can say about most mentor figures in your life. You pass several of the castle's staff in the corridors. all in period-appropriate garb. Most of them deliberately avoid eye contact with you, ducking their heads low and bowing briefly as they pass. One woman carries a basket of bread on her head. She bows curtly, torn between balancing her payload and showing you the proper respect she must think you deserve. The result is forced and artificial. Weird, you're not used to people treating you like this. Not that people are usually dying to make eye contact with you, but it's different. And the people here clearly think highly of you. Whether or not you'll prove worthy of it is another matter. With enough wandering, you stumble upon a tall, glass-lined corridor with double doors that lead into the garden outside. The windows reach from the floor to ceiling, enormous apertures that let in cool, natural light to illuminate the marble tiles. Beautiful area. That's beautiful, too. The garden is impeccably manicured, filled with perfectly rectangular hedges and neatly trimmed topiary. A menagerie of bushes groomed to resemble quadrupedal animals parade around the castle, parade around it outside, smelling the flowers and ducking behind trees with shimmering purple bark. The garden centerpiece is a quaint gazebo with white rails and a pale wooden slab. It looks like the paint is still new. Either it's been recently repainted or magically enchanted to stay that way. Standing just outside the gazebo is Remus, who tends to be a thorny bush of blue roses with a pair of garden shears. As you approach, he greets you. Kieran! Good of you to join me. Carefully balanced between his fingers, he holds 3 roses by their stems. He nods his head towards the gazebo, where a circular table of glass and iron awaits. He places the roses in an embossed vase on the table. Let's see, any, cool flowers. They're pretty. I grew them myself. We don't have those where I come from. They're rare here, too. This was the years-long work of several horticulturally inclined magicians. Now, I have an entire garden full of them. His gaze scans the garden like a watchful steward, the king of his realm. The sky is gray, but you feel the balmy warmth of the sun nevertheless. The smell of flowers and freshly cut grass is overpowering. Somewhere you can't see, birds are singing. If it's not real, it's pretty close to the real deal. So, this garden, was this all you? Do you like it? I've been cultivating it for decades now. It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't think royalty worked in gardens. Remus chuckles, the corners of his eyes crinkling with laughter. This one does. Gardening is a lot like ruling, except plants are much more resilient than people. Much more predictable, too. Plants are better than people? Oh, surely, but only because I'm a lonely old man with no friends. He smiles bitterly at his own confession, apparently unperturbed. Entirely alone? Oh, whoa, what's this? Notices your loneliness. Isn't a queen peregrine, or... Queen of Peregrine, or... Oh, no, I've ruled this kingdom alone for quite some time. I found that it's easier to grow trees than it is to govern people. Plants only need water, sunlight, and some love. If you forget to water a plant for a day, they'll likely forgive you. That is, provided they're not a particularly vindictive fern. Remus smiles fondly, lost in memory as he looks out over the lavish garden. But people? If you say the wrong thing or make the wrong choice, people remember. Bushes can be trimmed, stray branches curtailed. People are trickier. You're no stranger to that. You're no stranger to that fact, amen. That's enough about me. Who are you, Kieran? Tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm not very interesting. I'm sure that's not true. You're here after all. Well, my name is Kieran. I was supposed to graduate college last semester. I'm a Gemini, and I like long walks on the beach and pineapple soft serve. You have good taste. I guess I'm supposed to save the world? Astutely observed. We would be lost without you, champion. What about your duties outside of this world? Surely you have other obligations you're sacrificing to be here. I, don't have a job yet, but I'm working on it. I actually just talked to my professor about this. You kinda look like him. Whoa, 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 whoa. Are you about to say that this Wolf King looks like your wolf professor? You think all wolves look the same? It's not offensive if they objectively look similar. No, it's still offensive. Oh. You remind me of my professor, actually. Oh? How so? Is he also a king? A benevolent ruler? Well, no, he's mostly old and weird. I just meant appearance-wise. I look old and weird? No, you just have similar looks. He's a wolf. Remus stares at you, eyebrows raised politely. Oh, God. Yep. Alright. Let's go back. Change the subject. Okay. I'm also taking a summer class because I failed my last GE requirement and couldn't graduate. A GE requirement? Yeah, you have to take a range of classes in science or the humanities, or some other sort of physical education. Ah, it's Sounds like you're being prepared to be a well-rounded individual. A series of memories flicker rapid fire through your mind. Showing up to class, joining student orgs, going to the gym, then skipping lecture, ghosting clubs, sleeping in, celebrating the night of your 21st birthday by heading to a drugstore alone to pick up a bottle of margarita mix, and being congratulated by a cashier you recognize from your first-year writing seminar. He's dyed his hair green and gotten face piercing since then. You're pretty sure you're still wearing the same gray hoodie you started wearing every day towards the end of that semester. Yeah, you could say that. Are you a specialist then? What are you studying in school? What are you majoring in? Studies. Actually, Corinth got rid of Women's Studies Department 6 years ago due to chronic underfunding. It was collapsed with anthropology, where it's offered as a certificate. And no, you're not getting the certificate. What do you think Twitter is for? Oh, choose quickly. This timer runs out in 2 or 3 years. This choice will mean everything and nothing. I'm studying computer science. Ah, it seems to fit you. Does it? So, this class you're taking over the summer, is that not part of your primary studies? No, I need to fulfill a life skills requirement. Actually, now that you think of it, it's kind of ironic that you were about to pass that requirement originally and graduate with no actual life skills, and failed it because of very real-life experience. And now you're about to make up that requirement by delaying further real-life experience and instead doing something stupid, like taking care of a dildo that you've already lost. Speaking of which, if you see, a false phallus. Let's see. If you see a false phallus anywhere, let me know. I think it rolled into the void at some point, and I really need it for this class. This is an assignment from your instructor. Very strange. Tell me about it. If it's important to you, we will ensure it returns safely to your hands. I swear it. Thank you. It means I get to Oh. No. Oh, can you romance Remus? Oh, can you date a king? Thanks. Thank you. Remus leans back in his seat, resting one arm on the glass surface of the table. Now, how are you settling in? I'm sure this whole ordeal has been surprising, to say the least. Actually, it's been good. Actually, I've been doing pretty well. It's about time I got sucked into a magical world whose fate rests into my hands. I'd given up most of hope by the time I turned 2014. By the time I turned 14? Really? Jesus. It feels like a dream, doesn't it? Like it's too good to be true? Your friends felt the same way. Are they the only ones? From your world? Yes. Every so many years, your world sends new champions to reverse the tides of the resolution. There are always 3. The shield, the amulet, and the sword. That's you. Sounds a little bit like Rise of the Shield Hero. Which is cool. The cardinal weapons. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Yeah, the tip definitely helps because YouTube's ad revenue lately has been awful. That January drop was brutal. It was like 60 to 70% of my freaking earnings. Ugh. Really bad. Anyway, y'all, I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!